So, folks, there is this guy named Jeffrey Epstein who, uh, despite the fact that he is dead, is causing the Trump administration a lot of trouble. Specifically, he killed himself a few years ago, right? But there's a lot of controversy around it. And, to put this controversy to bed, the Trump administration decided that they were going to release footage of his death, and that death took place inside of one of the most secure prison facilities in the United States. And it has 24/7 security cameras running. Um, and so, like, it's really secure. And they were like, we've got footage of him doing it. Let's put this all to bed. And well, they kind of messed that up. There are 3 minutes missing from the FBI's Jeffrey Epstein prison video. From the raw, unedited video that they put out to put all this to bed. So that's weird. And this is also after Donald Trump and his cronies basically ran in the eyes of the conservative populace who voted for him and to put them into power on releasing the Jeffrey Epstein files and client lists so that we would know what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. And if you don't know somehow what Jeffrey Epstein was doing, he's one of the most prolific child sex traffickers in U.S. history. He would sex traffic children to be sexually assaulted at a private island by his wealthy and well-connected and powerful friends from all over the world and from elite society in the United States and abroad. And Donald Trump, the current president of the United States, once talked about how he and Jeffrey had been friends for 15 years. And Jeffrey Epstein is on tape calling Donald Trump his best friend. So, Donald Trump, despite the fact that everyone in his orbit has run on releasing these files, despite the fact that he himself said he would release the files, despite the fact that his entire base expects him to release these files, well, he's been very unwilling to release the files. Let's take a look here at this particular Q&A from yesterday. Let's take a look at that.
Okay, Mr. President, will you ask Attorney General Pam Bondi to release more documents to finally put this controversy to bed?
Yeah, whatever's credible, she can release. If a document is credible, if a document's there that is credible, she can release. I think it's good. But it's just a subject. He's dead. He's gone, and all it is certain Republicans got duped by the Democrats, and they're following a Democrat playbook, and no different than Russia, and all the other hoaxes. They're started by the Democrats, and some Republicans. In this case, I was surprised, but they got duped.
But how do you talk about it?
He's basically calling everyone who voted for him stupid morons for thinking that he was going to release those files when he was asked, and he said yes. The people he appointed to positions of power were people who talked about this nonstop. Dan Bongino has like 100+ videos talking about Jeffrey Epstein and his client list. Okay? Like, and he made Dan Bongino the deputy director of the FBI. Like, this isn't, they fell for a Democrat plot. Like, no, you guys have been running on this for like 10 years. When he ran in 2016 on draining the swamp, people thought of the swamp as synonymous with Jeffrey Epstein. You know, the guy who knew all the rich, powerful people and was hooking them up with children to abuse. Oh, and that's right. He was president of the United States of America when Jeffrey Epstein was arrested and killed himself. So that's kind of interesting. Hey, isn't his attorney general the person who was the attorney general of Florida at the time, where Jeffrey Epstein was put on trial? Huh. Well, hey, wait a minute. Wasn't his Secretary of Labor the guy who got Jeffrey Epstein his sweetheart deal?
Have you talked about it? Have you talked about it with her the last witness?
President, first of all, a number of your high-ranking officials, whether it's been your FBI director or Pam Bondi, they have made some inconsistent statements in the past. You've had.
Yeah, also, your attorney general talked about having the client list on her desk. She's talked about having tens of thousands of video. Seems like there's an awful lot of evidence that they've claimed to have, and you're just calling everyone who believes them idiots. That's a interesting contradiction.
Well, I don't know. I can't speak about him, but I can say that Pam Bondi, I really think that she's done very good. She says, I gave you all the credible information. And if she finds any more credible information, she'll give that too. What more can she do than that? I mean, honestly, what more can she do? And we do have bigger problems. You know, we have problems with millions of illegal people that came.
Like, he's trying so desperately to deflect, and understand he's being asked in front of everyone. Like, no one yet in the mainstream press is pointing fingers at him or even mentioning the fact that he and Epstein were best friends for like over a decade. But I think that might change after today, and we'll get to that.
In here, and they're killers and murderers. We have 11,888 murderers that were allowed into our country by Biden, sleepy Joe Biden, stupid Joe Biden. He allowed him into our country. And you know what? We got to do something about it. She's got a lot of things she's working on. And, you know, it's very sad that somebody can be waylaid, that just get waylaid. But I think she's doing a great job, personally.
Oh, that's so interesting. Let's take a look here real quick. Here's a statement from Trump. All right, I'll read it in his Trump voice. He posted it to Truth Social. The radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again, just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier, the lying 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, which the Democrats swore had come from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom. And even the Russia scam itself. A totally fake and made-up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss in the 2016 presidential election, which, like, Democrats weren't hiding that Hillary Clinton lost. You were the president of the United States. These scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They are no good at governing, no good at policy, and no good at picking winning candidates. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Everybody's calling it that, folks. Everyone's calling it the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Why, you can't go down the street without hearing somebody talk about how Jeffrey Epstein, that's all drummed up in a hoax. You can't go 5 minutes without hearing about the hoax. Everyone's calling it the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. He's trying so hard to discredit this. And it's so funny that he keeps making it, he keeps comparing it to stuff that was about him. Like the Steele dossier, the Russia stuff. If you do that, then everyone will probably correctly assume that, hey, maybe this Jeffrey Epstein stuff also implicates the current president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Strange. And my past supporters have bought into this bullshit, hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years. I have had more success in 6 months than perhaps any president in our history.
This is bad. We have gotta definitely write a song about how we do not diddle kids.
There's no faster way to convince people that you diddle kids than writing a song about it, Netanyahu. I love that clip, by the way. I've had more success in 6 months than perhaps any president in our country's history, and all these people want to talk about, with strong prodding by the fake news and the success-starved Dems, is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. Dude is literally telling his own supporters to fuck off and kick rocks. Like, the implosion is incredible. Okay? Now, I want to introduce you guys to this article from 2017. This is interesting. It's just from a New York Times article. A Manhattan skyline sketch by Trump sells at auction for $29,000. Look at his great artistic talents. What an incredible thing to put out into the world. $29,000. Oh, this article is from 2017, but he drew this in 2005. Huh. So interesting.
Well, Jack, there's nothing on earth like a genuine totally faux, Democrat Epstein hoax. What did I say? Epstein hoax. What's it called? Epstein hoax. That's right.
Paladin, thank you for the $10 dono. A genuine, bona fide Epstein hoax. So Trump is a failure of an artist too. Yeah, except it's kind of, I would say, important to understand that he has a predilection for terrible doodles, right? I think it's an important fact to point out because, well, let's take a look here. The Wall Street Journal just published an article. Jeffrey Epstein's friends sent him bawdy letters for a 50th birthday album. One was from Donald Trump. The leather-bound book was compiled by Ghislaine Maxwell. The president says the letter is a fake thing. That's so interesting. Let's take a look here. The letter bearing Trump's name, which was reviewed by the Journal, is bawdy, like others in the album. It contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker. Huh. You don't say. Interesting. A pair of small arcs denotes the woman's breasts, and the future president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist, mimicking pubic hair. The letter concludes, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." And I'm just gonna go full screen here. In an interview with the Journal on Tuesday evening, Trump denied writing the letter or drawing the picture. This is not me. This is a fake thing. This is a fake Wall Street Journal story, he said. Now let's read this. It isn't clear how the letter with Trump's signature was prepared. Inside the outline of the naked woman was a typewritten note styled as an imaginary conversation between Trump and Epstein, written in the third person. Voiceover. "There must be more to life than having everything," the note began. Donald. "Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is." Jeffrey. "Nor will I, since I also know what it is." Donald. "We have certain things in common, Jeffrey." Jeffrey. "Yes, we do, come to think of it." Donald. "Enigmas never age, have you noticed that?" Jeffrey. "As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you." That's how the letter goes. It's Donald Trump writing a love letter to Jeffrey Epstein and talking about how they have certain things in common and that they are enigmas that never age. And again, it's signed "Happy Birthday and may every day be another wonderful secret." This is maybe one of the most sus things I've ever read. Like, if you told me, oh, this is Jeffrey Epstein and his best friend, I'd be like, oh, that best friend definitely also fucks children. So that's some bombshell reporting there from the Wall Street Journal. And well, let's take a quick look here. Yeah, apparently he threatened to sue Rupert Murdoch over that article going up. Let's read his statement he put out on Truth Social right after the article went up, because he's spitting mad, guys. He is absolutely fucking livid. The Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch personally were warned directly by President Donald J. Trump. He's so mad he's gone into third person. That the supposed letter they printed by President Trump to Epstein was a fake, and if they print it, they will be sued. Mr. Murdoch stated that he would take care of it, but obviously did not have the power to do so. The editor of the Wall Street Journal, Emma Tucker, was told directly by Caroline Leavitt and by President Trump that the letter was a fake. But Emma Tucker didn't want to hear that. Instead, they are going with a false, malicious, and defamatory story anyway. President Trump will be suing the Wall Street Journal, News Corp, and Mr. Murdoch shortly. The press has to learn to be truthful and not rely on sources that probably don't even exist. Holy fuck. He actually says probably don't even exist. Oh, holy shit, the amount of work that probably is doing. Holy shit. Just fucking Atlas holding up the world there. The press has to... Sorry. President Trump has already beaten George Stephanopoulos /ABC, 60 Minutes /CBS, and others, and looks forward to suing and holding accountable the once great Wall Street Journal. It has truly turned out to be a disgusting and filthy rag, and writing defamatory lies like this shows their desperation to remain relevant. If there were any truth at all to the Epstein hoax, as it pertains to President Trump, this information would have been revealed by Comey, Brennan, Crooked Hillary, and other radical left lunatics years ago. It certainly would not have sat in a file waiting for Trump to have won 3 elections. This is yet another example of fake news. Is talking in third person normal? Riverboat Jack doesn't know Super Jet Guy. Riverboat Jack hasn't really made up her mind about whether or not it's normal to talk in the third person. Riverboat Jack has some ideas, and maybe it comes across as deeply weird and off-putting, but maybe Riverboat Jack needs to try it a little bit more, you know? No, it's super weird. It's super fucking weird. And dude, like, he's focusing on the lawsuit, right? But like, he's trying to say it would have been revealed by like previous Democrats years ago, except that like Democrats are also implicated. Like the Clintons famously are implicated by by their ties to Epstein. You know, they do not like talking about it. And so like there were reasons for the left not to release it, just as there are reasons for Donald Trump to not want to release it. But unfortunately, he built an entire movement and cultivated an entire base that their number one priority is like getting the client list, a list of names who are associated with this. And like this, he is fucking gone, guys. Like, he's been continuing to post about this. That was just 4 hours ago that he posted that, right? Ever since then, based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. This scam, perpetuated by the Democrats, should end right now. And then some propaganda photos. And then the Wall Street Journal printed a fake letter supposedly to Epstein. These are not my words, not the way I talk. Also, I don't draw pictures, which, yeah, he does poorly. So I don't know what he's on about there. I told Rupert Murdoch it was a scam and that he shouldn't print this fake story, but he did, and now I'm gonna sue his ass off and that of his third-rate newspaper. Thank you for your attention to this matter, DJT. Oh, God. Dude's fucking losing it. His latest post is trying to, in all caps, talk about how great it is that he defunded like Elmo, that he defunded like Sesame Street and like public broadcasting, you know, the services that keep rural Americans alive in natural disasters. But sure, okay, yeah, we're all gonna forget about that because you defunded Elmo. Okay, yeah, also, you know, I don't understand why would Donald Trump be feeling hot under the collar about all this? I mean, sure, he was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, but that doesn't mean like he participated in these activities. It's not like, I don't know, he's interested in children, right? Uh oh. Uh oh. Well, that was published in 2016. Wait, guys, do you think that like a guy who tries to catch glimpses of children while they're changing and in various states of undress might be a kind of guy who would abuse children with Jeffrey Epstein? Because I'm kind of thinking maybe he would. You know, I'm kind of thinking, but no, that's impossible. That's impossible. I mean, let's take a look at one of Donald Trump's longtime friends. What is his former colleague, Mike Pence, have to say about this?
Former Vice President Mike Pence sat down with us for a wide-ranging interview, and I asked him about this ongoing conversation and pressure on the Trump administration to do more, to be more transparent in the space around Jeffrey Epstein. Here's part of that conversation. President Trump said the Jeffrey Epstein matter is a hoax. Last week, his Justice Department said there were more than 1,000 victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Last summer, Trump said he was open to declassifying all the relevant files and the Epstein client list, and that his suicide looks suspicious. How can all those things be true and it be a hoax? I don't understand where things stand with all this.
I think the time has come for the administration to release all of the files regarding Jeffrey Epstein's investigation and prosecution. It's important that we protect the names of the victims. They should.
Protest sign idea. I'm thinking of using myself. A picture of Elmo saying something like, Elmo needs saving.
I think that'd be a great idea, One-Eyed Heathen. But this, understand, this is basically like Mike Pence being like, yeah, I think Donald Trump should, like, absolutely get fucked by this.
Be excluded from any disclosure, but whether or not the facts justify charges, I think that anyone who participated or was associated with this despicable man ought to be held up to public scrutiny.
One of the most aggressive investigative reporters in our country, Julie K. Brown, was on my show last night, and she said when the Justice Department last week said 1,000 victims, she said that was a higher number than she was familiar with and indicated to her that there have to be accomplices. Accomplices that some of the victims have named that worked with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And she said, shouldn't there be some inquiry into whether or not those people should be exposed to criminal prosecution?
Totally unrelated. Why is there just a tie rack in the middle of the room?
Well, do you agree with that?
Especially when the host isn't even wearing a tie? I don't care. I'm just confused.
I just think we ought to get the facts to the American people. I mean, I've always believed in transparency.
And when the president says it's all a hoax,
he just likes looking at them.
What is he talking about?
Well, Jeffrey Epstein's prosecution began during the Bush administration. Continued.
He's blaming it on Democrats.
The Obama years.
It's not a.
His Secretary of Labor literally gave Jeffrey Epstein the sweetheart deal. Like, so many of the people around Donald Trump are comedically associated with Jeffrey Epstein and like getting him off the hook. It's nuts.
Hoax.
I know of no reason why this administration once the victims' names are protected, should not release all the files on Jeffrey Epstein.
More of my interview with the former vice president.
I mean, we don't need more of the interview there. That was hella interesting because Mike Pence is trying to hang Donald Trump out to dry. Like, I hate Mike Pence, and like Mike Pence is objectively like an evil son of a bitch. But I do like that his hatred of Donald Trump overrides everything else, and I think that's great. Let's let's take a look at something else. This happened 2 days ago.
Break from President Trump. House Speaker Mike Johnson is calling for the Department of Justice to release all of its information on Jeffrey Epstein. Speaker Johnson made those comments during an interview with conservative influencer Benny Johnson.
We should put everything out there and let the people decide it. I mean, the White House and the White House team are privy to facts that I don't know. I mean, this isn't my lane. I haven't been involved in that. But I agree with the sentiment that we need to put it out there. And you know, Pam Bondi, I don't know, when she originally made the statement, I think she was talking about documents, as I understood it, they were on her desk. I don't know that she was specific about a list or whatever, but she needs to come forward and explain that to everybody. I like Pam. I mean, I think she's done a good job. We need the DOJ focusing on the major priorities. So let's get this thing resolved so that they can deal with violent crime and public safety and election integrity and going after Act Blue.
Let's get this thing resolved. All right, I want to bring in CBS News Chief Washington.
No, we're good. Basically, and this article that I put up on screen is from 3 hours ago. The amount of backlash from Republican voters on this issue is so overwhelming that like Mike Johnson is calling for them to be released. The Republican members of Congress are contemplating like bringing this to a vote so that Congress actually acts in order to try and release these files. It's genuinely like things are happening in a way that I'm finding very out of the norm. And so like genuinely we're kind of at a point where like anything can happen. That being said, here's Bernie Sanders on the issue. And he does not think that Donald Trump is going to release these files, despite his calls to release them. Let's hear him out.
Wouldn't normally ask you about this, but Jeffrey Epstein's case is now front and center for this administration. It is tying up the FBI, it seems, in knots with Pam Bondi, the Justice Department, the top two leaders of the FBI who have been on podcasts spreading, conspiracy theories about this for years, now in a position of authority. People are turning on the president. Where should this go?
To be very honest, I don't know a whole lot about this. But all that I do know is that you're right. Trump and his friends campaigned and said, when we are elected, we're going to open up all of the files and you're going to see all these terrible things, presumably Democrats and so forth and so on. That's what he said to his people. And they say, okay, you're the president, open up the files. And now they're saying, oh, we can't open up the files. We choose not to open up the files. So I think above and beyond what may or may not be in the files, whether there are any files, who knows? I don't know. But I think people perceive that Trump has lied to them. He said one thing during the campaign, and now he is saying something very different.
Yeah. That being said, guys, if you wanted to make yourself look like possibly the most guilty person on the face of the earth, what would you do? If you were Donald Trump, what kind of order would you hand down? That like you're trying to kill this story, but instead it makes you look like one guilty motherfucker. What would you do? Well, in my opinion, the thing you would do is fire the prosecutor of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, which is what they did. The Justice Department fired the daughter of James Comey, who was the one who prosecuted both of them. Maureen Comey got fired unexpectedly. No explanation given whatsoever. There was no reason given for her firing from the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, according to one of the people who spoke to the AP on condition of anonymity.
The people are aroused, and the leopards are hungry.
Now, I want to read her statement because it's genuinely like inspiring in a way that I wasn't really expecting. Yesterday was unexpectedly my last day in the office. I was summarily fired via memo from Maine Justice that did not give a reason for my termination. Every person lucky enough to work in this office constantly hears 4 words that describe our ethos: without fear or favor, do the right thing the right way for the right reasons. Without fear of retribution, and without favor to the powerful. For the majority of my nearly 10 years in the Southern District of New York, fear was never really conceivable. We don't fear bad press. We have the luxury of exceptional security keeping us physically safe. And so long as we did our work with integrity, we would get to keep serving the public in this office. Our focus was really on acting without favor. That is, making sure people with access to money, people with access, money, and power were not treated differently than anyone else, and making sure this office remained separate from politics and focused only on the facts and the law. But we've entered a new phase where without fear may be the challenge. If a career prosecutor can be fired without reason, fear may seep into the decisions of those who remain. Do not let that happen. Fear is the tool of a tyrant wielded to suppress independent thought. Instead of fear, let this moment fuel the fire that already burns at the heart of this place. A fire of righteous indignation at abuses of power, of commitment to seek justice for victims, of dedication to truth above all else. It has been an honor to fight for those principles by your side. Like, this is who they fired for no reason. And it's very clearly because she prosecuted the Epstein stuff. You know, like, it's honestly insane to me how just like bold they are being with this. Now, it should not surprise anyone if more and more articles and facts and people start coming out of the woodwork to add their knife to Donald Trump's back. This could genuinely be like a tu brute situation, but because guys, it gets worse. This is an article published yesterday in People magazine. Ex-casino boss claims Trump and best friend Jeffrey Epstein were once caught bringing underage girls to the casino floor. A former executive at Trump's Atlantic City casino told CNN that the duo brought 3 girls to the gambling floor who were not yet 21. The White House called this story fabricated. Jack O'Donnell, who oversaw the Atlantic City Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino for 4 years in the 1980s, spoke with CNN's Aaron Burnett on Wednesday, July 16th, about the president's friendship with the late billionaire who became a convicted sex offender. In my mind, Epstein was his best friend, throughout the time I was there for 4 years, O'Donnell said in the interview, noting that the pair frequently came to Trump's casino together. One alleged instance stood out to the former casino boss. He claimed that one night in the late 1980s, Trump and Epstein visited Trump Plaza with 3 women and brought them onto the casino floor despite them being under 21. O'Donnell said he found out about the incident the following day when state casino commission inspectors were waiting for him in his office. An inspector, it seemed, had identified one of the girls with Trump and Epstein as the number 3 ranked tennis player in the world. The inspector happened to be a tennis fan, and he said, "Jack, I know she's 19 years old." O'Donnell said they had determined that the women they had brought with them were underage to be in the casino. In the state of New Jersey, it is illegal for anyone under 21 to gamble on a casino floor. Despite the law, O'Donnell claims the commission gave Trump a break for the incident, but told him to warn the future president about the potential consequences. "I had to call them and say, they're giving you a break this time, but if this happens again, the fine is going to be substantial and it's going to be on your head," he claimed. O'Donnell also claimed to have told Trump that continuing to hang out with Epstein and underage women was not going to look good. "I did tell him in that conversation, I don't think you should be hanging out with this guy, just so you know, and you certainly shouldn't be doing that in Atlantic City," he said. When asked on Thursday about O'Donnell's CNN interview, the White House passionately denied his claims. Jack O'Donnell is a stone-cold loser who's a liar and a fraud, White House Communications Director Stephen Chung told People in a statement. "This is a completely fabricated story from his warped imagination as he suffers from Trump derangement syndrome that has rotted his pea-sized brain," which is definitely something you say when a thing definitely didn't happen. Trump has been working to distance himself from his past with Epstein. It's been a difficult sell, as he famously called him a terrific guy in a 2002 interview with New York Magazine, adding, "It is even said he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side." Yeah. Also, according to an itemized list from the Department of Justice, the evidence that the Justice Department has includes photos, cameras, computers, hard drives, and more, including one CD labeled Girl Pics Nude Book 4. But they're trying to claim it's a hoax. They're trying to claim they don't have anything. They have no evidence, and it's a hoax, but they have all of that, and they seized it from Jeffrey Epstein's property and estate. Yeah, what could they possibly have meant by that? Girl Pics Nude Book 4 could mean anything. Maybe they were spitballing ideas for a new compact MP3 player. You don't know. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Now, the most recent development that I don't really know how this is going to play out. Trump Attorney General Bondi to seek release of Jeffrey Epstein case grand jury transcripts, which that's interesting, but I can't help but note that's not what people are asking to be released. Like, this is not the material that people are asking for the Trump administration to release. And I think they're hoping they can release some, like a little bit of it, but not the whole, kit and caboodle. Like, they're trying to be cute about this. And the fact that they're even considering trying to do this means, like, I got to be honest with you. I thought that maybe there was a chance that all that was really happening here is that, like, Donald Trump was somehow financially tied with Epstein. Like, like he was the one giving or funneling money to Jeffrey Epstein. That accounts for, like, Epstein's rise in prominence and wealth that no one can explain yet. But I'm going to throw out there that these are the actions I would expect if Donald Trump is definitely someone who is implicated in that list. The last couple of days have obliterated the doubt in my mind. The current sitting president of the United States definitely fucked children with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, that is what I believe right now, based on the evidence here. Because again, they're still not doing the thing. Yeah. Is anyone surprised that the guy who said, when you're famous, they just let you do anything, grab him by the pussy? Anyone surprised that the guy who bragged about sexual assault does sexual assault? Bondi replied in a social media post, writing, "President Trump, we are ready to move the court tomorrow to unseal the grand jury transcripts." So I guess we're going to see what happens in the next 24 hours. Oh, the letter that the Wall Street Journal obtained was among the documents examined by the Justice Department officials who investigated Epstein and his convicted procurer, Ghislaine Maxwell, years ago, the newspaper reported. It's not clear that the Justice Department will be able to convince a federal judge in New York, where Epstein was investigated, to release the transcripts that indicted him in 2019 on child sex trafficking charges. Grand jury transcripts are, as a rule, kept secret under federal criminal procedure rules, which provide limited, narrow exceptions. It's also not clear that if the transcripts are released, that they will satisfy critics of Bondi's recent decision not to release any more documents or evidence related to Epstein. The transcripts would represent just a fraction of the evidence assembled by prosecutors and the FBI. Nice try, Pam Bondi. Representative Daniel Goldman of New York wrote in a tweet on Thursday night. What about videos, photographs, and other recordings? What about the FBI's 302 witness interviews? What about text and emails? Goldman wrote. That's where the evidence about Trump and others will be. Grand jury testimonies will only relate to Epstein and Maxwell, which is 100% correct, which is why I'm very skeptical that this is actually going to satisfy anybody. Like, you're only going to get the stuff that implicates the people who were indicted, not others. Well, Super Jet Guy, like, I understand, like, back in, like, the last Trump administration not being, like, super on board with this, because my assumption was just Trump's supporters don't care. Like, it was publicly known that Donald Trump would look at like underage children in dressing rooms. It was publicly known that he bragged about sexual assault. It was publicly known that like his ex-wife accused him of rape. It was publicly known. Like, all of these things were known quantities. He talked openly about having been best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, these things were known, and I didn't think that this would ever actually become a scandal for him after, like, it came and went, and Republicans just didn't seem to think anything of it. But now, now enough time has gone by that they're like, wait a minute, you guys are in power right now, and you're not releasing these files. Hey, you guys were talking about all of that evidence. And like, something just clicked in the base, and they realized that this was bullshit. Yeah, I think Donald Trump is perfectly fine with the grand jury testimony being released because it's not going to have anything to do with him. He doesn't want that evidence released because it has something to do with him. Yeah, even Mike Lee, a fucking absolutely insane Republican from Utah, said that this was huge, but I hope and expect that this will be the first of several steps to let the public know what happened. So, yeah, I don't think that this is going to, I don't think this is going to satisfy folks. But this is where we're at. It's genuinely insane. It's genuinely insane. I don't understand or know how this is going to play out from here, but I don't think people are going to be satisfied. And I think he's going to continue to spiral about this. And I think that his base is going to refuse to let this go because there's no way they can refuse to, you know, like, this is their reason for being within the Republican movement. And it's been that reason for the last 10 years. So they can't let it go. And Donald Trump can't release the file. And so that tension is going to continue to build. And honestly, I hope it does, because the best case scenario for us right now is that this authoritarian government completely and utterly implodes. That is an incredible good for us. It's an incredible boon for the entirety of this country if we can implode this administration, render it ineffective for the foreseeable future, and like continue to build up power in order to oust these motherfuckers from Congress. Or I guess, in this case, these child fuckers from Congress. So there you have it, folks. That is the latest on Jeffrey Epstein.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.